So Patterson, I think, is going to be okay. He's practicing. Looks like he's okay. So Jazz, hopefully, will join us. Eddie practiced today, partial practice. So optimistic, but we'll see how the week goes. Why we'll wait and see, but it's we'll see.
With Erick, with the ACL tear, I'm assuming that's needs surgery. What is kind of his recovery timeline for that?
It takes a while, whatever, 6, 8, 10 months, somewhere. So it's significant. It's unfortunate.
Are you guys holding out hope that maybe Lachey comes back at some point, maybe a bowl game or something like that?
Yeah, I talked to him yesterday about being back after the bye, jokingly, for the record, jokingly, and he smiled. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. You can't count on it. It's just hard to predict. The window's open for that maybe, sometime in December, but it's certainly not, for sure.
What about Noah Shannon's situation now? Any additional feedback from?
Well, it looks good in pads, and he practices well. That hasn't changed. He's got fresh legs too, I guess. But yeah, I think we're just waiting on the NCAA. So hopefully they'll do the right thing. And how soon that's going to be? If it's 1 call, 2 calls, I don't know. So it's okay. I mean, time's ticking. He's getting older. All of us are getting older, and hopefully it's sooner than later they make a decision. I say it jokingly. It's really not very funny. In fact, it's not funny at all. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't have any firm data on what's going to happen or when.
Realistically, is Wrigley Field game maybe the ballpark? I mean, unless they
Well,
play tomorrow.
Yeah, if they called tomorrow, it'd be great. To me, they probably could have done it in June. That's my looking at this whole thing. But that's discussion for a different day too. So, if they wanted to call tomorrow, it'd be outstanding. We'll have them out there Saturday if they do. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen.
If Black can't go, you obviously have Logan Lee and Aaron Graves at D tackle. What are your next options? We've seen Pittman a little.
Yeah, that's the next guy.
Would
Yeah.
you move anyone inside potentially, or?
Yeah, Deontay Craig's played there in the past, but we're nicked up a little bit. I mean, we've played 7 games and got a lot of guys that are playing with soreness and pain. That's part of the game, unfortunately. Just like guys getting hurt, and that's I don't say it in a callous way. It's just the reality of what we do, and it's so we'll figure it out. We'll just get 60 more minutes to play here, and then we'll regroup next week.
What is kind of you are banged up. I mean, I know every team is. I understand that, but you got 1 game before the bye, so you're coming off an emotional win. So what's kind of the message to the team here to try to kind of limp to the finish line, so to speak?
Well, a while back I just talked to the guys about an 8-week season, and it's really what it is. And I don't know about anything else, but I wasn't smart enough to know 8 weeks ago what it was going to look like today, or 7 weeks ago, I guess. So you just take it a week at a time. You try to take it a day at a time and assess where you're at. Yeah, and it's all about survival, really. I mean, that's what Saturday was about, and that's what this week will be about. Very similar type game, and it is. Yeah, we are coming off an emotional win, but I mean, every week's like they're pretty much the same story each and every week. So that's part of the challenge that's built in. Can you get up and get back working on Sunday and transition into the next game the next week? You're always going to have challenges. We're always going to have guys that are achy or painful or a little tired, all that kind of stuff, and we just try to be as proactive as we can about recovery, rest, all those things that we all know we're supposed to do. Sometimes we don't do it, especially if you're in college. Just try to get every edge you can so you can be at your best on Saturday. But that's what we're trying to do right now. And that next week is next week. It's a late bye, so we'll handle it appropriately and what have you. But really our focus has been on finishing this 8-week block, and that's really what it is right now.
What did you think of the physicality of the run game, the offensive line against Wisconsin, and sort of how they've grown this season?
Yeah, I think I've been saying that. I think I've seen improvement. We've seen improvement. All of us have in the last 4 or 5 weeks, I guess, and 3 weeks maybe, I guess, whenever we started the second 4-game deal. And it shows up in different ways, but I think we're getting a little bit more mature now. We're operating a little bit better together and having a better feel. And certainly the run game was huge for us the other night, and that will be a better football team if we can run the ball successfully. It's never easy, but it certainly helps you. And hopefully guys are gaining confidence when good things do happen. They should feel a little bit more confident. The backs, especially LeSean, really ran the ball well, and we created some room for him. So he did something with it, and even the long run, that wasn't a clean play. Like there was some bobbing and weaving going on there, but that's the way the run game is. and you got to make something happen. If you're a back, there's typically going to be somebody you're going to have to, put a move on or break a tackle or whatever, and that's the way the nature of the game. But it's encouraging.
What's the status of Deshaun Lee and TJ Hall?
Hall's not going to make it this week for sure. Deshaun will see. Yeah, it's the same thing, kind of, day by day.
And then for their backups, Brendan Diaz-Fernandez and Devin Hilson, what's your level of confidence in them and just in the potential of them stepping in and playing?
Well, yeah, I mean, level of confidence. I'd be more confident if they'd started 20 games in their careers, like everybody. I'm flashing back right now to, I think we started 2 freshman corners, whatever it was, up in Minneapolis. They had the 2 good receivers. Didn't sleep so. Riley Moss was one of them. It wasn't a great. Was it Brent's too? I think, right, Julius? I believe. So I didn't sleep so well that Friday night, but those guys did great, and we won the game. That's it's an opportunity for the guys that haven't played a lot. We talk to them about that all the time, and both Brendan and Devin are doing good jobs on special teams. That's reassuring to see guys out doing things, contributing to the team, doing well. And Devin had a penalty the other night. That to me was inexperience. You get mad a little bit, but because we couldn't afford an inch the other night. But at the same time, I've been watching him. All of us have been watching him improve and progress as a young guy who's aggressive, and so he's really improved as a football player. So penalty, it's a learning experience the other night, but I think he made some really good plays too for us. And so hopefully at some point that's going to transition in the defensive play. It's kind of been the history of guys around here. But I'd be fine if our starters got to play the whole game. That'd be okay with me.
With the tight end injuries adding up, what have you seen from Steven Silianos this last month?
Well, same thing. I mean, I think I mentioned, I thought he was one of our most improved guys last spring, and it's the same topic. Technically we were playing with 4, 5, and 6 at tight end the other night. 3 guys that were out there. So, again, you probably wouldn't sleep well going into the game knowing that was the case. But those guys all played. He did a good job. Johnny did a nice job, and Ort's in the Army now. So, as of last Saturday, he's in there playing, and thought he did a good job for first time out there. So, but it's because they practice well. And again, talking about Steve, we said that in the spring. I thought he's probably one of our more improved guys on the team. Last year was a transition year for him, and but in the spring you could see him operating, like this is a guy who can help us play and help us be successful, and he's going to be called upon to do more now as we move forward.
Going off of that, has there been any thought to move Hayden Marsh back out more to tight end, or do you like him too much fullback?
Yeah, no, he's got that flexibility. He's certainly, we're out of guys, so he'll definitely get work there. So he's probably one of the 4 guys getting work, and he's a smart guy, so he can do both. And but they're not like the 3 guys that weren't playing or were playing. I guess that's kind of the difference right now. So we're just playing catch up in that regard. And to your point, he played fullback more the other night. We ended up using that personnel group a little bit more than we probably anticipated. I thought he did a really nice job that was really his first extensive playing out there, and really pleased with what we saw. It's encouraging.
You guys sit at 6-1. You don't need to sit here and spout off the stats difference between special teams, defense, and offense, but talking to some of the offensive players, talking to the team, taking a look at the season, it really feels like there's a strong sense of leadership in this group that's allowed the locker room to be so united. I mean, you just wouldn't be able to guess, the stats are what the stats are, but what can you say about the leadership of this group, especially coming off, the Penn State game? Joe Evans said that he loved the body language in the locker room after the game because he knew that the group was ready to fight back.
Yeah, we did it last year, and things were probably a little bit more dire, although, it felt pretty bad 4 weeks ago. I don't mind telling you, that's just, there's no way to sugarcoat a game like that. It's not fun to go through, as I said back then, and you try like hell to avoid those moving forward. But that's what the game's all about. It's responding, and our players are smart. They know what's going on. They know where our challenges are. They know what things looked like in August, what they look like now. But despite as much everybody wants to predict the future, you can't do that. You just never know how seasons are going to go, what turns are going to be taken, who's going to be in, who's going to be out. And if you got a true team, guys just work with the circumstances and situation, and they stay together. And hey, if this path's not going to work, let's try this one, let's try that one. There's a lot of ways to win football games, and that's kind of been the theme for 20-some years. We're just trying to find a way to win. That's really what the game's about. And if you can come out victorious on Saturday and do it, over and over, then you can feel good about things. So that's there's no way to predict how it's going to be. Great if hey, we'll do this, we'll do that, and we'll this and that. And I mean, we weren't counting these guys running the ball for 300 last year. I'll promise you that. And it made for a long day. It was hard. It's really hard when that's going on.
But you made a concerted effort to make sure the team does everything together, and obviously the Swarm since 1979, the coach lets the players lead the team onto the field. Can you just remind me, why is that, and why is that so important to do things as a unit?
Yeah, I mean, two of the best traditions you'll see in Kinnick Stadium, in my opinion, or if we go on the road, which we can't take the Wave on the road, but both those are, to me, as good as it gets. And that was Coach Fry's baby all the way. Yeah, and I thought it just made so much sense. And I know our opponents made fun of us, at least they did in the 70s or 80s. I don't know if they do anymore, but just what it stood for, what it meant. That was how he built the program here. So, as long as I'm here, that's going to continue, and it is important. We swarmed really poorly in 2004 down in Tempe, Arizona. And it's funny how things work, it's about how we played too. We couldn't even swarm right, couldn't take a team picture in 1999. Went back and redid that on a Saturday night during camp. I mean, so it's funny, little things sometimes to really carry over to bigger things. But it's just a great tradition. And again, I'm not taking any credit for that, and I'm not taking credit for the Wave at all. We just get to participate, and it's really, both of them stand for something. I think it's really, really neat, and all of us can be proud of that for sure.
Kirk, I know in seasons like this, you kind of throw some of the stats out and not ignore them, but 27 of 70 for your quarterback is a tough one that probably digest. How do you get a higher completion percentage for Deacon, and what
throw it more accurately and catch it better? I mean, it's real, and protect better. But those are the things. I'm not even aware of those stats, quite frankly. I know this. We didn't turn it over the other night. I know that he had something to do with that. So. You just take it as it is, and we're just trying to focus on his improvement too, a little bit better tempo, this, that, footwork, whatever it may be. And, but first things first, don't get us in trouble. Don't make bad decisions. Don't press. Don't, all the things that, you lose games real quickly if you start doing some things. And so taking care of that. And then, just the offensive stuff, it'll come when it comes, and we're working at it just as hard as we would in a good statistical year. And, so it's not like your approach really changes a hell of a lot. It's just a matter of, everything working together. I guess that's my experience in football, at least.
How far would you say that Joe Labus, who did start a bowl game and won that game, didn't have a turnover that day.
Yeah.
How far would you say the separation is between those two?
I don't know if I want to put a gauge on it, and really game action determines everything eventually, but I'll just say this. I know that discussion floated out there last year, and I think, I hate to say this in a negative way, but I think we all saw, when Petrus got knocked out, we saw maybe why we were playing Petrus. And, I went through that discussion last year. I mean, Petrus was our quarterback in 20. It looked pretty good with him playing back there. Offense is a team thing. It takes a lot of things to go together to make it work. Defense is the same way. I mean, it's really a lot of intricate things that work together or don't work together, and it's a very delicate thing. So, there's a lot of factors that go into it. But I mean, right now it's clear that we have a 1 and a 2 and a 3, and then we'll just kind of go through there. And if the gap closes at some point, we'll go the other way. But I don't foresee that right now. I'm not going to start that wildfire. I don't know if that one's out there right now or not. I don't really pay attention to what's being said, but like right now, Deacon's our quarterback, I guess is what I'm saying.
How big of a lift would it be if Estringa could play? I mean, I know you were high on him in the preseason.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll take anybody. Anybody's healthy. And all due respect to Eddie, I mean, he's a really good kid. And he hasn't played all that much either, though. But we really like him, and we like all our guys. But I mean, I think he's a really good prospect. He just hasn't played a lot, and the way things have panned out, he'd be playing a lot right now if he was, if he was healthy. But hopefully he'll be this week, and we'll just keep pushing him forward. Whoever's ready to go, they're going to be in there.
How much growth have you seen from Cass throughout the last year? What dimension or what factor does it add being such a sound tackler at safety?
Yeah, I mentioned it the other night. I mean, the good things in football, just to nutshell them from the other night. Drew Stevens coming back from a not so good game, 10 days ago, wherever it is now, and coming back and playing great Saturday. Think about that. You think about LeSean in the Michigan State game, and he came back in that game. In his defense, fourth quarter, he really played and helped us win the game. And then certainly really helped the other night. So, guys getting off the mat, that's one story. And then, in Sebastian's case, in our program, historically, mentioned Brian playing as a freshman. Wasn't the case for Sebastian, but he played special teams in his career. Just wasn't clicking for him defensively. And then last year, at the end of the last year, it's when it started clicking. And he's played well all season long and was huge the other night. So it's fun to watch players because you don't know if it's going to be their fourth year, fifth year, third year, first year. You just never know when a guy's going to start to have success, and sometimes it never really comes the way that you hope. But the common denominator is, just guys working hard, giving all they can give. And Sebastian's a tough-minded guy. Boy, he's physical and tough out there in the field. But now he's getting confidence. He's really starting to feel good about what he's doing. And I'm not going to say it's his best play, but just the fact that, he hit the ground after you got the game winner, and, selfish guy would have tried to score or whatever. But, he had that wherewithal just to hit the ground, game over, we're going home, start the bus, and here we go. So I think it says a lot about him, too. It really does. And I'm not sure he would have done that 3 years ago, but that's maturity, and that's just really like getting it and understanding what it takes.
Deshaun Williams was listed as the starting running back this week.
Yeah, I mean,
what
yeah.
went into that decision? And
Well, it had something to do with that 82-yard run or whatever it was. I mean, shit, that was, pardon my French, but, that was a big play for us. No, but I mean, he ran the ball extremely well. And we got faith in all of our guys, including the 2 young guys. They may be in there Saturday too. You never know. I mean, the way this year's going, so anyway, I don't think we're going to call Sam Brownlee back, but it just, but he seized an opportunity and went with it, and that's good for him. And it might be the week before Caleb was the guy who was being anointed. So all these these guys are all going to have to help us play, and we're going to have to run the ball if we're going to win. There's no question about that.
Kirk, you brought up 04. You brought up Sam Brownlee just now. Does this year kind of, in some ways, with all the injuries, remind you of 04?
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, in some ways, but it's different too. But the commonality is like that's football. I know I got in trouble saying that in 14, but it is football. You just don't know. You can't predict it, and that's why I get I'm so amused with these programs in the summer. And it's an industry, and guys have jobs. That's great. I'm all for the economy. But like you can't predict the future. You just can't predict it. You just don't know what's going to happen. So the bottom line is you better be flexible. You better find a way when something does happen. And it kind of goes back to the point about the team has to understand that. They got to understand that there are different things that happen that affect or impact the way the game might go. So it's just law of compensation. If we're a little bit weak over here, then this department, that department, this department better step it up a little bit until we get caught up in the other area. So that's the fun part, because these guys do get it. They care about each other, and they understand there's some give and take with everything that we do. So it's all good.
Rivalry aspects aside, I mean, these two teams that you play and have played every year forever for 100 years, they tend to they're so physical, and they take a real toll on you and you on them as well.
Yep.
Was that ever the schedule? But when you looked at it the first time, went, oh boy, that's going to be tough to play anybody, let alone Minnesota, right after Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I'm not a big one on analyzing schedules because, first of all, we have nothing to do with them other than the non-league games, and then you play what you play. It's laid out there, and it's luck of the draw and all that kind of stuff. I'm happy our bye week's 8. I think I'd rather have it 8 than 4. I think that's a good thing, but it's just, again, it gets back to our league. Like, that's the way our league is. So chances are you're going to be playing some teams week to week to week that are, the Michigan State game was a physical game too. Those guys came in here and played hard, and I think our guys played hard. So you just got to deal with it. And I think where you have to adjust is what you're doing. Mentioned trying to educate the players about the value of what they do in their personal lives. And then we have to be responsible too as coaches and make sure we're practicing in a way that gives our guys a chance to get back to, where they can play at their top level here Saturday. And if we had 4 straight more after that, that's our job to try to control that. But again, you got to keep educating the players too that they got some ownership in it as well. Okay, thanks guys.
Thanks, sir.